08096 in the interest of Carrera Arredondo Cochan. All parties and witnesses, please raise your right hands to be sworn. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, ma'am, please state your name and your relationship to the child.
Frances Arredondo, and it's my daughter.
All right, and representing the state.
Luis Regla.
All right, and court will note that Clifford Cochan is the non-custodial parent. He was personally served on August 5th, 2021 at 7:32 a.m. at 1200 Baker Street in Houston, Harris County, Texas. He has not filed an answer or made an appearance. Is that correct, Mr. Regla?
That's correct, Judge.
All right, we'll proceed by default.
Thank you, Judge. And Judge, I'll also offer what's been marked as State's Exhibit A. That is the financial activity report in this case, and I ask that it be admitted.
All right, Ms. Arredondo, have you had an opportunity to look at that financial statement?
Yes, sir, I have.
Okay, you have any objections of me admitting that into evidence?
No, sir.
All right, State's Exhibit A is admitted.
All right, thank you, Judge. And now I'll call the mother, Ms. Arredondo. And ma'am, do you recall when the
Yes, sir.
last court order was done, February 27th, 2012? That order had the father paying you child support of $371 per month and medical support of $120 beginning March 1st. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and today we actually don't have proof of what the father's income is. So since we don't have enough proof to either increase or decrease the child support and medical support, we're going to abandon the request to modify today. Would you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and although he was served back when he was in Harris County Jail, we know that he's out now and he's no longer in Harris County Jail. Is that correct?
Correct.
In fact, you recently talked to him. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so would you agree with the state? So the court should proceed confirming the arrears, child support in the amount of $14,315.66 as of March 31st, 2022,
Yes.
and that the court should order this man to pay you an additional $122 a month towards those child support arrears beginning April 1st,
Yes, sir.
and the court should confirm a medical support arrears judgment also as of March 31st, 2022, the amount of $6,029.51 with a monthly payout of $80 beginning April 1st. Would you agree with that as well?
Yes.
Okay, and do you believe these orders are in the best interest of your child?
Yes, sir, I do.
And I'm asking the court to grant this default order confirming the arrears. Ms. Arredondo, are you in agreement?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, thank you, ma'am. And Judge, I'll pass a witness. That's all I have on this order.
All right, the court will approve the order submitted. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. May she be excused now, Judge?
Yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Arredondo, you can disconnect now. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Good morning. This is cause number 2021-67130 in the interest of Leandre Harden and Vashon Leandre Harden Miller. All parties and witnesses, please unmute yourselves and raise your right hand to be sworn. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right, ma'am, please state your name and your relationship to the children.
My name is Alexia Jagala Williams, and I'm their mother.
All right, and representing the state.
Andrea Eoff.
Court will note that the non-custodial parent is Broderick Leandre Harden. Mr. Harden was personally served on November 4th, 2021 at 11:16 a.m. at 6626 Dusty Dawn Drive in Houston, Harris County, Texas. And he has not made an appearance or filed an answer. Is that correct, Ms. Yoff?
That's correct, Your Honor.
We'll proceed by default.
Thank you. Your Honor, I'd like to call Ms. Williams to the stand.
Okay.
Ms. Williams, will you please state your name and your children's names and ages?
Cia Williams. My oldest son is 2 years old. His name is Vashon Leandre Harden Miller. I have a 1-year-old. His name is Leandre Jocelyn Harden. And
All
I'm
right.
their mother.
All right. And is Mr. Broderick Harden the father of both of these children?
Yes.
Have you ever claimed or alleged that someone else could be the father of these children?
No.
And is Mr. Harden aware of that both of these children were born and that they belong to him?
Yes.
And is it true that you guys lived together for a period of time after the children were born, but you've since separated?
Yes.
All right. Can you briefly explain for the court why one of your children has a hyphenated name?
Vashon has a hyphenated last name because at the time we were breaking up and I was going to give him my grandfather's last name to carry on for the family because my mother doesn't have her father's last name. It's a family last name. I currently still take care of my grandmother, who is the wife of my grandfather. Margie Miller is a family last name.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're going to talk for a moment about your relationship with Mr. Harden. Is it true that that Mr. Harden has committed violence against you and the children?
Yes.
And can you describe some of the violence that Mr. Harden has inflicted upon you?
He's definitely has put his hands on me. We got him probably 5-6 physical altercation where he has kicked me, he has choked me. I have a scar left up here from the incident. One of them, I have a slight scar up under one of my eyes. Can't really see them via image. But he's done that with a kid. One of our last incidents was we were arguing in the house. He ended up slapping me. I remember him choking me with his nails. They dug into my skin. I had a busted lip. What else? I had a bloody nose. And then he went in the room, took out his anger on our child who was 6 months at the time. It was in, I want to say, February of 2021. It was in February when it occurred. And he went in there and slapped my baby across his face. It wasn't to the point where it left a bruise, but it was to the point where he did wake up out of his sleep. He started screaming. We were staying with my aunt, and I went in the room and I woke her up and let her know, and we were able to kick him out the house. I'm sure probably when I had my first car, he probably did it 3 times on coming down from the street, leaving from his grandfather's house, because we in real life we didn't stay far from me. Took me out on the highway coming from Willowbrook Mall. He took me out while on the highway at nighttime at like 1 o'clock in the morning. That's about all I can remember.
Okay.
That's about it.
Okay, so I'm going to recap very briefly. Mr. has choked and kicked and punched you multiple times. That's correct?
Yes.
And Mr. Hart, at one point in time, slapped your 6-month-old child across the face while he was sleeping?
Yes.
And Mr. Harden at one point in time punched you and choked you while you were driving with your child in the car. Is that correct?
Yes.
And was there an incident where Mr. Harden attempted to kill your dog?
Yes, we had just got a puppy. It was of June of 2019. I gave birth in 2019, I believe. whatever summer that falls in before I gave birth to Vashon. Yeah, because he was born in 2019. So yes, it was June of 2019. I had a puppy. I had just gotten it from a friend who stayed in an apartment, and I'm not sure what came over him, but he got, I remember him saying that I was showing a lot of more love to the dog than I was of him, that I cared a lot for the dog than of him. I believe we had gotten an argument, and like 2 minutes later, I remember him just leaving the house. I didn't have the dog. He went across the street. I can't think of the house name. I think it's Northwest Housing or something like that, across from the apartments we stayed in. And I walked all the way over there. I was 8 months pregnant, and inside the drainage hose where the water drains, I could hear the barking of the dog. And as I lay down on the ground to see if I could see it, I seen it down there. I had to go run back to get a sheet, tie it up as if it was like bolted and pull it up like a pulley. And I was able to retrieve the dog that way. I ended up giving the dog to my friend later on that day, or maybe the next day. I gave it right back to her.
And Ms. Williams, has Mr. Harden threatened to kill you based on you bringing this suit for child support?
Yes, it's in one of my recent police reports that happened, I want to say in November, early November, or mid-November, somewhere in there. He was able to hack into not only one of my Instagram's account, but both of them. One of the Instagram accounts was my kid's personal
Can't hear any of that. He's
account.
breaking up.
He was
You're breaking
able to
up,
hack
Miss
into
Williams.
messages.
Ms. Williams,
Miss-
can you
Miss
pause?
Williams,
Ms.
you're
Williams,
break-
can you pause? I'm gonna make this a yes or no question since we're having audio trouble. Is it true that Mr. Harden sent a message saying that if you were bringing a child support case against him, that it meant you wanted to get shot over child support money?
Yes.
Thank you. So based on the history of violence against you and your child and the threat of future violence, are you asking the court to make a finding of family violence in your case and a finding of non-disclosure, meaning that your address and phone number should be kept confidential?
Yes.
And based on the history of family violence, are you asking that the court appoint you the sole managing conservator for your children and give an order with 0 visitation for Mr. Harden at this point in time?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And to your knowledge, Mr. Harden works at Wendy's. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Do we have any evidence of income that would indicate that he makes more or less than minimum wage?
Not that I have.
Thank you. So based on that, are you asking the court to order child support of $267 a month and medical support of $75 a month? Cash medical?
Yes.
Are you asking the court to award a judgment for retroactive child support for the time period from August 1st, 2021 to today for a total of $2,403?
Yes.
And are you asking that retroactive amount be paid back at $62 a month?
Yes.
All right, I have no further questions, Your Honor, and I'll pass the witness.
all right, the court will approve the order as submitted. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Williams, we can leave this Zoom. The judge will sign your order shortly, and you're done today.
All righty. Thank you.
All right, this is cause number 2021-63598 in the interest of Montserrat and Melanie Leal. All parties and witnesses, please raise your right hands to be sworn. Are you translating, Ms. Arroyo? You're going to need to unmute yourself.
Yes, I am translating, Judge. I'm sorry.
All right, go ahead and swear her in like I asked. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Señor, ¿usted jura decir la verdad, toda la verdad y nada de la verdad? ¿Y toda la de la verdad? Yes.
All right. Ma'am, please state your name and your relationship to the children.
Señora, por favor, diga su nombre y su relación que usted tiene con los niños.
Karen Juliana García y soy la mamá.
Karen Juliana Garcia, I am the mother.
All right, and representing the mother, counsel?
Your Honor, Lauren K. Bunch, representing cross petitioner Karen Garcia.
All right, and representing the state, and unmute yourself, Ms. Sharma.
Kavita Sharma for the state. Good morning, Your Honor.
All right. Court will note that the non-custodial parent is Jose Lazar Garcia Jr. Did you hear me, Ms. Arroyo?
No, I'm sorry, I broke off.
The court will note that the non-custodial parent is Jose Eleazar Garcia Jr.
La corte va a afirmar que el papá sin la custodia de los niños es el señor José Eleazar García Jr.
And he was personally served on March 25th, 2022
Y le dieron la petición a él en marzo 25 de 2022
Sí.
at 1:10 p.m.
a la 1:10 p.m.
at 701 North San Jacinto Street in Houston, Harris County, Texas.
en la 701 North San Jacinto, Houston, Texas.
Sí.
And it appears that he's not present and he has not filed an answer or made an appearance. Is that correct, Ms. Sharma?
Yes, Judge, that is correct.
Ms. Arroyo?
Señor, le está preguntando a la abogada que si es correcto que no está presente en este momento, ni tampoco se ha contestado a esta demanda.
All
Dice
right.
la abogada, correcto.
Correcto.
All right, we'll proceed by default.
Vamos a proceder a una orden sin comparecencia.
Ok.
Okay.
Yes, Judge, I would like to call Miss Karen Garcia.
¿Le quieren llamar a usted, señora Karen García?
Miss,
Disculpe.
how many children are we here for today?
¿Cuántos niños estamos aquí hoy?
2.
And how old are your children?
¿Cuántos años tienen sus hijos?
Melanie tiene 7 y Montserrat tiene 3.
Melanie is 7 and Montserrat is 3.
And their father is Jose Eleazar Garcia Jr., correct?
Y su papá es el señor José Eleazar García Jr., ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
And are you still married to Mr. Garcia?
¿Usted todavía está casada con el señor García?
Sí.
Yes.
And both children were born during the marriage?
¿Y los dos niñas fueron nacidas durante el matrimonio?
Sí.
Yes.
And where is Mr. Garcia today?
¿Dónde está el señor García ahorita?
Está en la cárcel.
He's in jail.
And is he in jail for committing a family violence charge against you?
Él está en la cárcel por una violación, por un cargo de violación doméstica a usted?
Sí.
Yes.
Are you asking the court to establish a legal relationship between Mr. Garcia and the children?
Usted le está pidiendo a la corte que establezca una orden de relación de padre e hijo con el señor García.
Disculpe, es que es como que se corta. ¿Me lo puede repetir?
Usted le está pidiendo a la corte que ponga una orden de padre e hijos para sus niñas.
Sí.
Yes.
And due to the domestic violence, are you asking the court to appoint you as the managing conservator for the children?
Por la violencia doméstica, usted le está pidiendo a la corte que la ponga usted como la persona. I'm sorry, Attorney Sharma. Can you
As
repeat?
the managing conservator, sole managing conservator?
Managing conservator. Usted, señora García, usted le está pidiendo a la corte que le ponga a usted como la persona con la custodia total de los niños.
Sí.
Yes.
And even though there's domestic violence, you believe the children should have visits with the father, correct?
Aunque haya violencia doméstica, usted cree que los niños deben de tener visitaciones con su papá?
No.
No.
Okay. Miss Garcia, did we talk about visits through the domestic relations office with the father and the children?
Señora García, nosotros hablamos hace un rato sobre las visitaciones con el condado de Harris de Safe Supervise.
Sí,
Yes.
And you're going to participate in that program for the father to visit with the children, correct?
Usted va a participar en ese programa para el que el padre visite con los niños, ¿verdad?
ok, sí.
Okay, yes.
And when Mr. Garcia is not incarcerated, what type of work does he do?
Cuando el señor García no está en la cárcel, ¿qué tipo de trabajo hace él?
Es trailero, truck driver.
He's a truck driver.
And do you know how much he makes as a truck driver?
¿Y usted sabe lo que él gana como truck driver? ¿Como trailero?
Sí,
Yes.
And you understand that because he's incarcerated, we're going to order child support set at $0, correct?
Usted entiende que porque él está en la cárcel le vamos a poner la manutención como 0 porque él está en la cárcel, ¿correcto?
sí.
And how are the children covered under health insurance?
¿Y cómo están los niños cubiertos aseguranza médica?
Medicaid.
Medicaid.
And you understand the father is not going to be ordered to reimburse that while he's incarcerated, correct?
Usted entiende que el señor García no va a estar obligado de pagarle al Estado para atrás porque él está encerrado, ¿correcto?
Sí,
Yes.
And you testified that you were married to Mr. Garcia. What date did you separate?
Usted testificó que estaba casada con el señor García. ¿En qué fecha ustedes se separaron? I'm sorry, did you say separation?
Yes, ma'am.
¿Y cuándo se separaron?
noviembre 22 del 2021.
November 22nd of 2021.
And when did Mr. Garcia get arrested and went to jail?
¿Cuándo fue arrestado que fue a la cárcel el señor García?
Fue el 30 de enero, si no me equivoco, el 30 de enero del 2022.
January
So-
30th.
Thank you. And for the 2 months that he was not incarcerated from the time you're separated, are you asking the court to order back support in the amount of $1,560?
Usted le está pidiendo a la corte por los 2 meses que estaban separados antes de que fuera a la cárcel que él pague una manutención atrasada de 1,560. ¿Eso es correcto?
Sí, correcto.
Yes, correct.
And to your knowledge, does Mr. Garcia have any other children outside of your marriage?
De su conocimiento, usted no sabe si el señor García tiene otros hijos afuera, o sabe que el señor García no tiene otros hijos afuera del matrimonio.
Sí, no tiene.
Yes, he doesn't have any.
And as with the child support and medical support, you understand that this judgment will set out at $0 for payment until he's released, correct?
Y usted entiende que la manutención y la aseguranza médica que tiene que pagar el Estado va a estar a 0 cada mes hasta que él salga de la cárcel, ¿correcto?
Correcto.
Correct.
And as far as your address, we understand there's been domestic violence between you and Mr. Garcia. Are you asking the court to keep your address confidential?
Sobre la violencia doméstica, a usted le está pidiendo a la corte que su información sea confidencial, que no, para que él no sepa sobre dónde usted está, para que su información sea confidencial.
Así es. Sí.
Yes, it is.
And do you believe that if Mr. Garcia knows where you live, it could cause you harm or harassment or threatening or abusive behavior?
¿Usted piensa que si el señor García sabe dónde usted vive, le puede causar daños, hostigamiento, cosas?
Sí.
Yes.
And are you asking the court to file an injunction against Mr. Garcia preventing any abusive or harassing or threatening language or behavior?
Usted le está pidiendo a la corte que le otorgue ciertas reglas para que él no intente, para que no la amenaza, que no la dañe a usted, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Yes.
And one last question, how many cases of violence does Mr. Garcia currently have pending against you?
Una última pregunta. ¿Cuántos casos de violencia tiene el señor contra usted en este momento?
Hasta ahorita sé que tiene 5.
As of right now, I know he has 5.
Thank you, Judge. I pass this witness.
Ms. Bunch, you have any questions for your client?
I'll reserve for my.
I'm sorry, I didn't, you broke up.
I'm sorry. I said I'll reserve for my case, Your Honor. No cross examination.
Okay. Anything further, Ms. Sharma?
Nothing, Judge. I pass this witness.
All right, anything further, Ms. Bunch?
Yes, Your Honor. I call my client, Karen Garcia.
Le llama a la abogada a usted, señora Karen García.
Disculpe.
La está nomás nombrando la abogada. Para
Ok,
que,
muy bien.
And to make sure, am I audible? Can you hear me okay?
you are cutting off a little bit. I'm sorry.
I'll try to move closer and see if that helps. Is that clearer?
Yes.
Okay.
For me, yes.
I'll try to keep my voice up. All right. Ms. Garcia, would you please state your name?
Señora García, ¿puede por favor decir su nombre?
Karen Juliana García.
Karen Juliana García.
And earlier you testified that there was violence in your relationship with your husband, Mr. Garcia. Generally, what kind of things would he do?
Hace un momento usted testificó que hubo violencia doméstica con su esposo, el señor García. ¿Nos puede decir un poco sobre la violencia o las cosas que él hacía a usted?
Sí, él es de un carácter muy fuerte y cuando siempre trataba de humillarme y cuando no le parecía lo que yo decía, pues me pegaba. Como él consume drogas, también como...
Okay. Sorry. Le quiere decir, ¿puede repetir cada cosa en secciones, por favor, para yo poder traducir a la corte?
Ok. Él me pegaba
You would hit me?
porque no le parecía a veces, él me quería manipular, él me quería mandar a mí.
He wanted to manipulate me and he would want for me to do what he wanted.
Y cuando él usaba drogas,
Whenever he would use drugs,
se ponía muy terco, que quería dinero.
he would be very, he would always want me to give him money.
Y por eso se enojaba conmigo y me pegaba.
He would hit me.
Y como yo ya no quería regresar con él, él me empezó a amenazar.
And because I didn't want to go back with him, he started
Threatening.
he started to threaten me.
Okay. Ms. Garcia, you provided some images of injuries. Is that correct?
Señor García, usted nos proporcionó fotos de cosas que él le hizo a usted, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Yes.
Your Honor, permission to share my screen?
Yes.
I got a note that screen sharing was disabled. I think I may need to be made a co-host, or if someone else has screen sharing. Attorney Sharma, are you able to share your screen?
I cannot, but I just sent a message to the court coordinator. Hopefully she can do that.
I'll proceed with the questions and go back, so I'm not taking up time waiting for that. So we'll circle back to that. Ms. Garcia, I'm not currently able to share my screen, so we'll return to the exhibit. I'm going to
You can share it now. She's done it.
Oh, that was quick. Excellent. All right. Ms. Garcia, I'm showing you what's been marked as cross petitioners exhibit 4. Do you recognize this image?
Le quiero, señor García, quiero que usted ve esta imagen que está como peticionador cruzante, ejemplo número 4. ¿Usted sabe de esa foto?
Sí, esa
Yes.
foto fue en junio del 2020.
That picture was of June of 2020.
Okay. And are you familiar with the person depicted in this photo?
¿Usted conoce a la persona que está en esta foto?
Sí, soy yo.
Yes,
And
it's
is
me.
Is this photo a fair and accurate representation of the circumstances at the time?
Esta foto es justo y habla de lo que pasó en las circunstancias de ese momento.
Sí.
Yes.
And have you made any changes aside from the exhibit label at the top? Has any changes been made to this photograph?
En esta foto, ¿ha hecho algún cambio sobre esta foto como está mencionada arriba? Como el ejemplo 4. ¿Ha habido algún cambio?
No.
No.
Your Honor, I offer cross petitioners exhibit 4.
La
Sure.
abogada va a someter este ejemplo 4 a la corte.
No objections, Your Honor.
No,
All right. Cross petitioners exhibit 4 is admitted.
admitió el ejemplo 4.
Ms. Garcia, what is this a picture of?
Señor García, ¿de qué es esta foto? ¿De qué es?
¿Cómo?
¿De
Pues
qué
es de cuando él me pegó.
It's whenever he hit me.
And what is depicted in this picture? Is there an injury or other mark?
¿Qué está en esta foto? ¿Que hay una marca? ¿Qué hay?
Es donde tengo aquí mi ojo. En esa foto hacía como una hora que él me acababa de pegar, entonces todavía no está morado. Entonces aquí traigo donde se ve poquito morado y aquí la nariz traigo rojo y todo esto lo traigo hinchado.
I have, ¿dónde es aquí? Perdón, tiene que decir.
Aquí en el cachete.
On the cheek, I have it swollen. I have my nose red. My eye is also, this was taken about an hour after he hit me.
And what were the circumstances? How did you get these injuries?
¿Y cuáles eran las circunstancias? ¿Cómo recibió esto?
Porque él quería, siempre me quería checar a mí las cosas, siempre quería hacer nomás lo que él quisiera y yo no le quise prestar mi teléfono y por eso me empezó a pegar, me pegó así con la mano cerrada.
He hit me with a closed hand because I didn't want to do what he asked me to do. He would always tell me that he wanted me to do things.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. All right. And Ms. Garcia, you submitted more images. Your Honor, I'll be sharing my screen for another exhibit if I may.
La abogada va a poner más ejemplos.
Ms. Garcia, I'm showing you what's marked as cross petitioners exhibit 5. Do you recognize these two images? The first-
Le estoy poniendo estos dos ejemplos, como en ejemplo número 5. ¿Usted conoce estas dos fotos?
Sí.
Yes.
And have any changes been made to these photos?
¿Ha habido algunos cambios a estas fotos?
No.
No.
Do these photos accurately represent the circumstances at the time the photos were taken?
Estas fotos demuestran exactamente lo que estaban demostrando en esos momentos.
Sí.
Yes.
And when were these photos taken?
¿Y cuándo fueron tomadas estas fotos?
Esas fotos se tomaron el 28 de enero de este año, que fue el último cargo que tiene, que me quiso ahorcar y él me dejó rasguños y aquí también tuve un rasguño.
Pictures were taken January 28 of this year. This was the last incident where he tried to wrap his hands around me, around my neck.
Your Honor, I offer cross petitioners exhibit 5.
No objections, Your Honor.
Quiere someter
All right.
el juez lo otorga.
Exhibit 5 is admitted.
And Ms. Garcia, this first image, what does it show in this picture?
Esta primera foto que demuestra, que enseña.
Es nada más, es el rasguño que traigo aquí.
It's a scratch that I have here.
Sí, va con lo mismo de la otra foto de donde traigo los rasguños aquí atrás donde él me estaba agarrando.
It also goes with the picture after that the scratches that I have behind me of whenever he was grabbing me.
And what happened?
¿Qué pasó?
Ese día fue el 28 de enero,
That day-
era
that day
en la
was-
madrugada.
Perdón,
Era,
continúa.
era en la madrugada.
It was January 28, 2022. It was in the middle of the night.
Él vino a mi casa,
Came to my house.
estaba tocando la puerta.
He was knocking on the door.
Who came to your house, Ms. Garcia?
¿Quién vino a tu casa, señor García?
¿Cómo, perdón?
¿Quién vino a su casa?
José García.
José García.
Okay, and what did he do when he came to your house in the middle of the night?
¿Qué hizo cuando él vino en la medianoche? ¿Qué te hizo él a ti?
Me trató de ahorcar. Yo le dije que se fuera. Pero él entró a la casa a la fuerza y se vino directo a mí y me empezó a agarrar de mi cuello.
He came through the door. He wanted to come in. He came through the door and he tried to
Choke.
choke. I'm sorry. Thank you, Judge. He was trying to choke me.
Ms. Garcia, were the girls present during this incident?
Señora García, ¿las niñas estaban presentes durante ese momento?
Sí, porque ellas estaban dormidas y con mis gritos y los de él, ellas se despertaron.
Yes, they were sleeping, but with my screams and everything, they woke up.
And did they react at all?
¿Y reaccionaron?
Pues se asustaron, estaban gritando y llorando también.
They got scared. They were yelling and crying.
And Mr. Garcia was arrested following this incident, is that correct?
Y el señor García estaba arrestado después de ese incidente, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
He has pending criminal charges, including one for this incident, correct?
Tiene cargos pendientes en la corte sobre este incidente, ¿correcto?
Correcto.
Correct.
And Your Honor, I'd like to offer cross petitioners exhibit 9, 10, and 11 as certified copies of the complaints and information for 3 pending charges, violating a bond protective order, 2 charges for that, and then a charge for assault of family member for impeding breathing.
Está sometiendo a la corte la abogada ejemplos 9, 10 y 11 sobre la violación de la orden de protección sobre el asalto de impedimental de que no la está dejando respirar.
Ok, muy bien. Sí.
Yes.
Any objection, Ms. Sharma?
No objections, Your Honor.
All right, exhibits 10 and 11. And this is the criminal complaint?
Yes, Your Honor, it's exhibits 9, 10, and 11 are the certified copies.
9, 10, and 11. All right.
El juez
They're admitted.
está sometiendo los cargos de ejemplos 9, 10 y 11.
And Ms. Garcia, you were granted a magistrate's order for emergency protection following this incident, correct?
Después de ese incidente, usted fue otorgada una orden de protección de emergencia, ¿correcto?
Sí, correcto.
Yes, correct.
Your Honor, I offer cross petition exhibit 8 as a certified copy of the magistrate's order for emergency protection issued on January 31st of 2022.
No objections, Your Honor.
La abogada está sometiendo ejemplo número 8, que es la certificado orden de protección de emergencia que fue hecho en enero 31 de 2022.
What were those numbers?
It was exhibit number 8, Your Honor, issued and
Exhibit number 8. And that is the protection order?
yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Any objection, Ms. Sharma?
No objections.
That's admitted.
El juez lo admitió.
And Ms. Garcia, what are your other concerns, if any, about Mr. Garcia having access to the girls?
Señora García, ¿qué otras preocupaciones usted tiene sobre que el señor García tenga acceso a las niñas?
Mi preocupación es que él usa drogas
Worried because he drugs.
Mi
What kind of
preocupación es que él, no sé, les vaya a hacer algo, las busque, no sé, no siga molestando.
Yep. I'm worried that he uses drugs. I'm worried that he'll keep on looking for them, that he'll.
And what drugs are you aware of him using, Ms. Garcia?
¿Qué droga sabes usted que él usa? El
Yo
señor
sé que
García.
usa el crack,
Crack?
piedra, no sé cómo
Crack.
se diga.
Crack.
I believe it's crack, rock.
Have you personally witnessed evidence of this drug use?
Personalmente, ¿has visto que él use su uso de drogas?
Sí, yo he visto que ha dejado cosas, como unas cositas así de vidrio, pero yo sé que él hace eso.
I think that he's left like little glass things, there.
I'll share my screen, Your Honor. Ms. Garcia, I'm showing you what's been marked as cross petitioners Exhibit 6. Do you recognize these images?
Esos ejemplos número 6, ¿usted reconoce estas fotos?
The
Sí,
second,
yo tomé esas fotos.
Yes, I took these pictures.
and about when were these photos taken?
¿Y cuándo fueron esas fotos tomadas?
Esas fueron en el 2021, como como marzo del 2021.
Like March 2021.
Okay, and what are, have these photos been modified in any way?
¿Esas fotos se han modificado en una manera?
No,
No.
And are these photos a fair and accurate representation of the circumstances at the time they were taken?
¿Y esas fotos son correctamente sobre las circunstancias que estaban pasando en ese momento?
sí.
Yes.
Your Honor, I offer cross petitioners Exhibit 6.
La abogada está sometiendo eso a la corte. Ejemplo 6.
Objections?
I do have one question. Who is the gentleman in the photograph?
Ms. Garcia, who is the gentleman in the third photograph?
Señora García, ¿quién es el señor que está en la foto, en esa foto?
José García.
José García.
No objections, Your Honor.
All right, that's on, that's Exhibit 6, includes all the photos of the drug paraphernalia, et cetera.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Garcia,
All right, it's
I beg
admitted.
your pardon. Ms. Garcia, in these photos, what does this show, this first photo here?
En esa foto, señora García, ¿qué se ve en esta primera foto?
Como que pues yo le tomé la foto a esas cositas de vidrio que yo sé que él usa. Esto fue en su camión donde él trabaja, ¿verdad? En su tráiler. Y él había dejado eso dentro de su camión.
I took a picture of this. He left this in his trailer and his where he works and where he drives. I took a picture of these little glass tubes.
Okay. And what are the glass tubes? Do you know what those are?
¿Y sabes qué son esas cositas de vidrio? Tubitos de vidrio.
Sé que le llaman como pipas, pero pues yo no sé de eso. Yo solo sé así que le dicen como pipas para fumar la crack.
I think it's the little pipes that they used to like smoke the crack.
And did Mr. Garcia often have things like this around him?
Y usualmente el señor García tenía esos tipos de cosas alrededor de él.
Disculpe.
El señor García usualmente tenía estos tipos de cosas alrededor de él.
Sí.
Yes.
And about how often were you aware of him using items like these?
¿Y usted qué tan menudo usted sabía que él usaba esos tipos de cosas?
Yo sabía cuando él andaba así, él recae cada 2, 3 meses y se desaparece 2, 3 meses. Yo lo noto cuando él anda así.
He uses for 2-3 months, then he disappears for 2-3 months, and I'm aware whenever he starts using.
Does he do this repeatedly?
Él hace esto seguido.
Sí.
Yes.
About how long have you been aware of him with this behavior?
¿Cuánto tiene usted que sepa de su comportamiento así?
Desde el 2018.
2018.
And Ms. Garcia, was there a further incident in January concerning messages from Mr. Garcia to you?
¿Hubo otros incidentes de mensajes por el mes de enero?
Sí.
Yes.
What, if anything, concerned you about those messages in early January?
¿Algo que le preocupe de sus mensajes que fueron hechos como a principios de enero?
Y yo hice el reporte a la policía porque como yo no quería regresar con él en noviembre se salió porque recayó en su vicio de las drogas. Y como...
He returned to doing his drugs in November. I made a police report because I didn't want him to...
Él me mandaba fotos que él se quería suicidar porque yo no regresaba con él.
He would send me pictures of him trying to commit suicide because I didn't want to go back with him.
And Your Honor, I'm going to share my screen for an exhibit. Ms. Garcia, I'm showing you what's been marked as cross petitioners exhibit 7. Do you recognize this image?
Perdón, usted, ese es usted reconoce esta foto, es ejemplo número 7.
Sí.
Yes.
You recognize the name here at the top of this message stream?
¿Usted reconoce este nombre que está aquí arribita?
Sí.
Yes.
What name is it?
¿Qué nombre es?
José García. José García, nomás que yo lo tenía registrado como Junior, todos le decíamos Junior.
Jose Garcia, but I have it registered as him as Junior because that's what we call him.
And have you regularly communicated with Mr. Garcia at this contact, Junior?
¿Usted regularmente se comunicaba con él en este método de Junior?
Es WhatsApp, pero lo bloqueé. Yo llegué al punto que yo lo bloqueé porque me mandaba puras amenazas.
This is from WhatsApp. I blocked him at the end because he would just be threatening me.
Do you believe that these messages were sent from Mr. Garcia?
¿Usted cree que esos mensajes fueron mandados por el señor García?
Sí, él fue.
Do you have reason to believe that anyone else sent these messages from Mr. Garcia's device?
¿Usted piensa que alguien más quizás haya podido mandar esas de su teléfono de él?
No.
Are these a fair and accurate representation of the messages as you received them from Mr. Garcia?
Estas son las fotos que el señor García le mandó a usted.
Sí, él me las mandó.
Yes, he sent them to me.
And have you changed or altered these messages in any way?
¿Usted ha cambiado o ha alterado esos mensajes de una manera?
No.
No.
Your Honor, I offer cross petitioners exhibit 7.
Le está
Sherman.
sometiendo los ejemplos número 7.
And Judge, my only objection is that we cannot verify the phone number because the contact is listed only as a Junior. We don't know which phone number these messages came from. Well, this one has a phone number here.
I can ask.
All right. Overruled, it's admitted.
Thank you, Judge.
Ms. Bunch, are we overdoing this? I think you have plenty of evidence for me to make a finding of family violence and also non-disclosure.
Non-disclosure and the supervised visitation. I was just trying to make sure all our bases were covered. If you're
All right,
we're in good shape, I can speed along.
I'm happy.
All right.
Anything further, Ms. Bunch?
Just 2 more questions, Your Honor. Ms. Garcia, do you have reason to believe that you and your girls would be threatened or harmed by Mr. Garcia in future?
Señora García, ¿usted piensa que están en peligro usted y sus hijas en el futuro por el señor García?
Sí.
Yes.
And do you believe that the order as we signed today, including you as sole manager and supervised visitation and the non-disclosure and other items requested, are in the best interest of your daughters?
¿Usted cree que la orden que usted firmó hace un rato es para el bienestar de sus hijas, de que hablamos sobre la custodia total, sobre las visitaciones supervisadas y con su información que sea confidenciales sean para el bienestar de sus hijas?
Sí, está bien, pues mientras sean las visitas supervisadas, está bien, porque a mí me da miedo que él se las llevara.
Yes, while my daughters are supervised, while the visits, I'm okay. I'm just scared that he would take them.
Ask the witness, Your Honor.
Ms. Sherman?
Nothing further, Judge.
All right, anything further, Ms. Bunch?
No further questions.
All right, court will approve the order submitted. Thank you.
La corte
Thank
va-
you, Judge. May we be excused?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Regla, you doing the Johnson case?
Yes, Judge, I'm doing. Let me pull it up real quick. Yes, Johnson and Fusilier case.
All right.
We had a couple of cases with the name Johnson, so I want to make sure I said the right one.
Okay. Is the mother present?
Miss Monique, are you present? Oh, she's connecting her audio, Judge.
Okay.
We can give her a minute.
Is she on by telephone or video? Mr. Regla?
She should be on video, Judge.
Okay.
Mr. Johnson, could you message the mother to connect her audio? Text message her or something like that to get her to connect the audio.
Okay. She's in.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Turn your video on, please.
One second. Hello.
All right, this is cause number 2021-44329 in the interest of Destin Johnson. All parties and witnesses, please unmute yourselves. Ms. Fusilier, yes, and raise your right hands to be sworn.
On my right hand.
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, ma'am, please state your name and your relationship to the child.
Oh, my name is Monique Fusilier, and I'm the mother of Destin.
All right. Mr. Johnson, your name and your relationship to the child.
My name is Rodney Johnson, and I'm the father of
All
Destin
right. And
Johnson.
representing the state of Texas,
Luis Regla.
we have a petition to establish a parent-child relationship. We're having a hearing. Is that correct, Mr. Regla?
That's correct, Judge.
Do we have any stipulations?
Judge, that's the issue. The parents are asking that no court order at all be done in this case, that they are able to co-parent on their own and have their own agreement for possession and access, and don't wish an order establishing paternity either with private health insurance. We're approaching because the state is requesting for us to proceed, establish paternity, and then have in there that they're joint conservators, no possession and access is needed because they have their own agreement, child support 0, and private health insurance through an employer. And that's how we're approaching, Judge, whether we're going to be allowed to proceed or not in the first place with doing a court order.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to make this child legally yours, sir, Mr. Johnson and Ms. Fulcier. There's going to be an order entered, whether you like it or not. So you can either come to an agreement or we go through the whole hearing of having an order entered. It sounds like there's pretty much agreed issues.
It
Mr. Johnson,
sounds like there is, Judge.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you hear what I said? There's going to
Yes,
be
sir.
an order. There's going to be an order entered. Okay. We're going to establish a parent-child relationship. If we don't do that now, something happens. Eventually, it's going to come back into court. Or if something happens to you, and that child is not knows parent-child relationship is established between you and that child gets no benefits that you might have in order to be able to for the child to receive, whether they be government benefits, Social Security benefits, etc. I'm not going to do that to this child. This child is going to have a legal father, and so if you want to come to an agreement with Mr. Regla and the mother, that's fine with me. If you want to attempt to reach some type of an agreement, but an order will be entered. I'll tell you that. You want to talk with the Attorney General's office and reach an agreement?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Regla, I'll recess for you to have some negotiations. All right.
All right. Thank you, Judge.
Yes.
Going out for just a second. Maria, can we stay on here? Or you want to turn off the YouTube feed?